winning out 7-2 as well on Cafe yesterday. And what you were talking about, obviously, with Hot and Cold switching to SSG from Mirage, Quartz coming in. He knows a lot of the inner workings with these teams, but we haven't seen too much history of Mirage on Cafe either. Do you think that this is something that they've more than likely changed up as well? You know, they kind of have a spy on the other squad.
Now, it's certainly a possibility, and we're going to have to wait and see, because Mirage looked really well-rounded on this map yesterday. Like, they had been more than ready to jump into it for quite some time, so it's really going to be up to SSG with regards to how prepared they are to play into it. Now, the bans, not too surprising. Everybody be freaking out about the Flores ban, but we've seen how prevalent Flores has become just within the first 4 or so play days that we've had at the NAL. It's no surprise if you've been following that, the reasons why he's going to be banned out, just because of the amount of utility clear he can provide, specifically in this map. Thatcher kind of goes without saying. Watch any of our VODs from the past 9 months, and we'll explain that again for you. But
you can probably go back 2 years, honestly, and we'd still explain it to you.
Meanwhile, on the defensive side, Mira is going to be the first one to get knocked out of the pool. It's pretty much the same thing there. That's been the case for a while. And Valkyrie, with so much outside play and repelling those cameras, if tossed outside, could be a real nuisance. So let's just remove that possibility entirely, not to mention where they can come into play inside the building.
Well, the good news is no one has an excuse to play IQ, so we shouldn't be seeing that. And if we do, it's probably wrong. We'll just have to see what goes down with that. But I like the Flores ban. I think we're going to continue to see that one, just because, as you said, he's just got so much utility. There's no point in not bringing him in a game where you desire as much explosive material or really anything to burn through the defense as possible. So good ban there for the offensive side, but the rest of it fairly straightforward. We're going to be jumping into things now, folks, as Mirage will obviously be taking up the defensive side. They're going to be starting in the mid floor here, and we already have a 6-pick coming in off of the mute, picking up the pulse for just a little more intel onto site. We actually saw this play out pretty darn well for Mirage yesterday, where they were able to hold off Beast Coast in the top floor for an extended period of time, allowing Mirage to obviously delay down to very, very low time, and that's when Nyx was able to secure that Nitro Cell kill and the round win, and what I believe was a 1v4 at the time from Kitchen.
Very tricky site for Mirage to start off on. Definitely could be a big risk, but we'll see if this ends up paying out regardless. SSG, an interesting note to see that Bosco is going to bring the Lion into play. We do have the Nomad unlocked for use, so that is also a possibility, and one that generally we've seen teams drift towards, but it seems in this case SSG are going to find more use out of the EE1D charters that Bosco we bring to the table in this round instead. Speaking of SSG, we've got them out on the board now, so let's take a look at their clear. As is usual for Cafe, don't expect any immediate action to pop off here, guys, especially with the upstairs hold coming in for Mirage. It's more than likely going to be a slow process of SSG trying to gain their early map control and a footing to work forward throughout the rest of the round.
Oh man, I'm loving this lineup SSG is bringing. This is just so very adaptable, John. There's so many ways that they can handle this right now. Like, if anything goes wrong with Christmas, they can basically swing this over and attempt a cocktail play side or anything on that side as well with the skeleton key. They can basically just abuse a lot of the verticality across the map from different positions with that skeleton key. So it's just a really nice little piece that they can use to abuse different flooring from different areas. But one place they won't be able to abuse is Benji's current positioning, as he's sitting inside of Pixel and Christmas. ADS is in tow as well for the Goyo shield, so probably going to be fortified for a minute here, as obviously SSG will be breaking up the map, but it all starts at the top floor as per usual.
He said, quiet few moments here. Hot and Cold set up more to counter out the aggression for Mirage if there was to be any of it, but Mirage are set up in a very static setup themselves, specifically contained around that white stairs position and the areas on the second and third floor that revolve around that. Fultz makes quick work of the Goyo shield placed just outside of the beginning of Whitehall there, allowing them to get full control over Cigar. Don't believe we had anyone from Mirage sitting on the inside of the bathroom there, so should be a pretty straightforward process to at least set up to begin pushing down the Whitehall. Now, actually committing to that is an entirely different story, which right now the pressure for all of that is going to come entirely down to Quartz, who all on his lonesome will not be able to stem the tide. So he quickly falls back, gives that room over to SSG once again. And Mirage, I do believe, have lost the full upstairs control, but we've got a Nitro Cell out from Nyx. It won't matter, though, and the problem is Rampy has been allowed into Library with absolutely no restriction. Takes down 2 players, just has a perfect pre-fire for a 3rd one, and just like that, the defensive setup for Mirage has fallen to shreds.
SSG was such a strong-handed clear right now. Mirage not able to battle back not ready for the play inside of Reading. Gonna end up losing 3 members to a singular man from SSG. Rampy on an absolute tear right now. Still have to worry about a possible crossfire here from Dream inside of Dining, but it seems like they're prepped and ready for that, as we're still gonna have hard destruction going down. Dream will be forced into a playmaking scenario. Fultz already with eyes on. More than likely going to have contact momentarily. Rips the head off of Dream. This is looking like a flawless so far. They'll get some good read on Fultz, at least inside of 90, but not before Bosco hops 2 and takes him down inside a train. SSG all over the Mirage defense.
It's always that balcony doorway or the hop over from upstairs into the same position. Yeah, it's always that hell spot that always catches players off guard. And it seems to have once again been the case here. A member of SSG allowed to run right in, not necessarily the front door, but through the side door and pick up those 2 kills to open up the rest of the execute for the team. And like I said, split the defense apart. Mirage just not really able to work themselves back at that point, as they had given over too much control to SSG, and as such, they take the early lead here. Not to mention the fact that Mirage give up a lot of their early contestation on the 3rd floor up without too much pressure coming in from SSG from the looks of it, besides dealing with like a couple pieces of utility for what we called on camera.
Yeah, honestly, the thing that I liked the most about that play there from SSG was the bait and switch. You know, they have a lot of pressure upstairs. That's the main focus for Mirage, especially for Nyx's case, right? He's trying to read out where everyone's coming from, trying to secure the Nitro cell, ends up getting it down upstairs, but they don't confirm it. But SSG slot Rampy in right when all of that's going down. Everyone has their sights upstairs trying to see what SSG are going to do. Are they pushing for white stairs? Are they going to go and try and hold like the top area of pillar? Like, what are they going to try and do to us? And then all of a sudden they have to deal with somebody on their exact playing field right on the mid floor, and as you said, just pushing right inside a hell door where everyone's standing right inside of Reading, not paying attention. So it's more just the bait and switch from SSG there. Mirage not prepared for somebody to be so forceful early on there. It was just very well done from them. We'll see if they're able to get it done again, but this is looking more like an execute lineup now that Hot and Cold is 6-picked away and ended up going to the Ying.
Yeah, so Ying going to be adding quite a bit of a chaotic element to this. We're still going to be seeing the line play coming in from Bosco as well, so that good capability to hunt down any early players, but moving around a bit for Mirage, not to mention act as a nice mask upon execute to try to freeze the Mirage roster when they do start to work their way in. Wasn't even really needed for the most part in the last round either, so we haven't really had to test the breadth of that utility usage yet from SSG. Hopefully we'll get to see that inside of this round, though. But once again, things we're going to be expecting to start out pretty quietly here. I say that, but we go over to Quartz's POV, and he's got the Skylight Peak angle. Unfortunately, not going to be able to find much from it, and does get pushed back to the hatch drop just above Cocktail pretty quickly, as he'll be sitting here waiting along with Benji for any sort of possible picks that they can get before being forced downstairs again.
Oh, SSG? Quite forceful here, but it's actually Rampy's hologram. It's going to be able to clear out mostly everything here. Quartz very smart on his movement here. Ends up taking down the hologram from behind. I believe drops the hatch as well, so he'll get out alive. But here's the issue. 3 EE1Ds for Lion nowadays, and he'll pop the initial one now and get a lot of information on these Mirage members, but also forcing them to move and popping it locks them up in very problematic situations like this one. Quartz can't escape the bottom of white. He has to challenge for the staircase, ends up getting taken down. SSG just so dynamic in their clearing ability right now. They've already got mid-level folks. They just need to translate this into vertical control. And would you look at that, John? 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock. This is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, with the same issues for Mirage that occurred in the previous round popping up here once again, they're just not able to slow down the clear from SSG whatsoever. They don't want to take a direct gunfight either, as we've seen the results of those so far. Things are just not panning out very well for Mirage. Quite a few of their players getting forced out into the open, into not easy places to be able to try to win these out, and as a result, SSG are constantly pushing ahead and getting the picks like we just saw versus Quartz. Now, so far in this round, things haven't gotten completely out of hand. It's only Quartz that's gone down. Not to mention situations like this, where Benji, as well as some of the other members of this team, have been in great positions to set up for pre-fires, but they just haven't been able to execute upon them that well as of yet. In these next few moments, though, we could start to see that ring out much more clearly. SSG are starting to run a little bit lower on time, and they might not expect positions like this from Dream, who once again, unfortunately, it's a great angle onto Rampy, but only knocks off half the HP.
Oh, fantastic nade there from Rampy. Nyx will get one as well for the trade back, but SSG still in the lead on man count. But loading A heck of a play right now. Actually, inside of VIP, has an opportunity to take down Rampy. He'll take one. Has to worry about one in booth still, though. And he's not aware of that. Folt simply stands up and takes him down. Coat check player now is next on the list. That'll be Benji. Nyx, the last one alive inside of sight on very minimal time. Big deal right now. Does Benji go unchecked? He does not. Bosco with the swing, ready for the prone angle as well. Now Nyx locked into the 1 versus 3, and he's got the full breadth of his kit as well. Gets the initial frag, but overextends himself on the angle. Doesn't have enough mag inside of that SMG-11 to handle the situation, and, well, Zofia, so very good at the back of bunker. That's 2 rounds there for SSG.
Bosco taking a quick L on that final duel there, just to make sure that they can secure it when everything is said and done, as their last player picks up that last kill there. Great stuff from SSG. Definitely a little bit more bumpy as Mirage tried to slow things down once they were finally pushed into those first floor positions. But once again, as I was mentioning in the mid round, not really able to accomplish much. And to be fair, in that specific round, they're not a whole lot set up to allow them to do so on the second and third floors, ultimately allowing for SSG to set up for any possible execution all the way, as early as the 1 minute and 30 mark. Now, past that point, did need to take that extra time in order to get into the site, as obviously you had those trickier positions set up for Mirage, but SSG didn't seem to have too much of an issue trading that out ultimately to bring it down to the 3v1.
I think that the biggest issue for right now for Mirage is that they're not able to slow down SSG's clear at all. Agreed. And it's mostly due to the fact that they're not really setting things up for their defensive roamers, right? Like, for instance, inside of that last round, there's no reinforcements used or any utility used on the second and third floors, but we have people all the way on the third floor. That's not bad if you're able to get some leadoff picks, but with the way that SSG is clearing, they're doing this all off of intel with the Yana and the drones and how they're setting things up across the map, and they're able to get these leadoff picks because of that, as well as the abuse with the EE1D like we were talking about before. So you have to make some place for your defenders on roam to at least have some semblance of security, because if they don't, you're going to end up getting picked, you're going to get shot through a wall or something like that. You just don't have the same parameters to work around that you do when you're playing close to sight.
Well, with all that said, there's good news and bad news coming up here for Mirage. The good news is the extended roam game shouldn't be a massive issue, as we're going to the third floor, so the roam game becomes the main game in a lot of respects here, just with the way that this site plays out. The bad news is, at least in the first round, we did see a pretty heavy setup on this floor already, and once again, just like the second round, we just saw play it right there. SSG were able to push their way past it, especially with the control towards Whitehall, very easily. Now, there's going to be a lot more of it in this round, so I wouldn't expect it to fall as easily as it did in round 1, not to mention the experience that Mirage now have from playing that one out. But still, there's already is some history here of SSG being able to push past a setup like this, so we'll have to see if Mirage are up to the task yet again now that they go to the direct floor.
Oh man, this is a little bit of a throwback, not necessarily the same strat, but I always love when we see these shields inside of Freezer. We haven't seen them for a little bit. Some squads still running them, but it was a really big deal to play this position a while ago with ADSs, but it started getting like kind of pushed out of the meta because people just started going underneath and breaching charging them. So we'll see if SSG is able to find that and get an impact or something there, but it's a really solid position. You're able to cover the cross from Ticket for Christmas as well as Cigar. Like, no one can go in there without catching a burst from a Vector or something like that, and it's just a great supporting angle for your Pixel player as well. So we'll see how that works out for Mirage, but besides that, very forward in what the overall game plan is. They're really not showing too many other cards besides, hey, we're going to play this inside of a turtle and we need to try and burn out that utility and just play those aggressive angles when we can. SSG now out onto the field, and they're already starting to dedicate some utility, starting to run into some of the initial obstacles.
So you're going to see some of that utility start to get in the way of SSG's clear. SSG very well aware and, more importantly, prepared for this, so they'll watch all necessary angles. You can see their Bosco just getting prepared if there's going to be any shenanigans on the hop out from White, and a member of Mirage actually going down. Thinking Nade already in the site, halfway committed to a plant right now. He's either allowed to walk directly around New Balcony or drop the hatch. Now, he did go down, but the problem is Rampy is still tearing players apart. He's gotten 2 kills. Quartz comes in on the red flank, taking down one on his own, but look at this. Only 1 player up now for Mirage. It's just Quartz versus Hot and Cold and Bosco. Thinking Nade and Rampy both down on the ground as well. This is some insane chaos going down right here, and Quartz can't even get back into the site. It's the Skylight kill. kill that takes him down, and SSG claim yet another one.
See, that's the difference from when you and your friends do that in ranked and when professional players do that. There's still two people, one on roof and one on a supporting angle on rappel all the way across the map that are all dealing with quartz. Oh man, SSG. You know, I say dynamic a lot when it comes to these teams and the way that they work things, especially when they're running an overall lineup like this. I really like what SSG has been doing here. But these guys just mess with this pacing so very much, continue to keep this defense guessing. They don't know what's right and what's wrong, what's up, what's down. They have no idea where they even are right now. I mean, I spent 40 seconds telling you about Freezer, and it didn't even matter. They just smoked it, jumped into Skylight, which is like the dumbest thing you could do, hop over long bar, and threw a plant down. That's really what happened. That's really what happened. SSG simply played the angle game better than Mirage did. They set up just like that in a snap and immediately started picking off Mirage members. And it was really all that bait around Nade. He didn't even get the plant down, if you guys saw, because Mirage had to obviously counter that. Quartz runs downstairs with the nitro cell, but that baits Quartz all the way downstairs to do so. They clear out the entire site while he's downstairs, all because he had to stop Nade.
Gives the team a solid 5 to 10 seconds to set up the rest of the 1vx situation as well, and it's easy sailing at that point forward for SSG to claim their third round in a row on the attacking side of Cafe. Now, Mirage, we know that they can play this map based on the way they played it versus Beast Coast yesterday. In fact, they were bringing some pretty inventive defender-sided play like we talked about in the pregame, but unfortunately, none of that has been panning out so far. SSG has either been reading into it or just brute forcing their way past it, as we saw in the previous round right there. So Mirage need to step something up, and they need to do it soon. Otherwise, we could be looking, unfortunately, at another very one-sided match in the favor of SSG with the way things are going right now.
And yet another 6-pick coming out here, an adjustment from SSG, no longer running the Yana. Feel like they've got enough traction with the drone game that they got going right now. Instead, going with the Maverick, and this is making more sense as to why, as we're starting to see the push come together here for them, although quite early on as of right now, but mostly focused on a bakery take. Mirage, though, still holding this mid-level, going to have 2 people, now make it 3, transitioning into that area. See how SSG want to handle this. Could obviously go for the clear if they want to, but it's going to require a lot of effort and more than likely quite a bit of that Lion utility.
Rampy already working on opening up one of the walls to get better access for SSG here. Mirage still stuck in quite a few preset positions to try and catch that early aggression from SSG, but so far have not yielded the greatest results. We can even see this being played from a top-down perspective. There's Quartz specifically is going to continue to hold on to the second floor. This will present a small obstacle for SSG as they are very much leaning towards the small bakery push, already having quite a bit of it opened up. The big wall behind the bakery counter itself, I believe, coming up here pretty soon also. So all the angles of attack going to be pretty much available for SSG within that first minute and a half once again, and once more on the 4th round they're going to net themselves the opening kill as well. Nyx falling first for Mirage this time.
Oh, Benji, come on. Benji, look. Benji, it's there. Benji, that drone's always there. Please, no. Oh, Benji. He's going to get spotted out on that drone. They're getting so much intel off of this position. This is an amazing spot here for Fultz. He'll be able to keep track of the Jaeger the entire time. SSG have set up all of the outskirts of the bomb site area as just basically one big kill box. If you rotate out, you're more than likely going to die. He's locked inside a whiskey. Quartz is going to get one, but we don't know if that was on the transition or from upstairs. Going to be another EE1D. Fultz will take down Benji. That was a Jaeger across the map. Quartz has actually worked his way into Freezer. He's going to go for the rotate for Whiskey, but no, Bosco's already there. Last one alive, obviously, Quartz. He goes for the swing, but Fultz, it's a triple kill for him inside of this round as well, as SSG just so dominant on this offensive half.
It's just too clean right now from them between the last round and this one, with the way that they are able to handle these setups with ease as well. Like I said, I was a little bit worried about SSG possibly brute forcing their way past those top-down angles and losing a couple players because of that. Clearly, it was not that big of an issue, as SSG are able to handle that on top of that drone that gets left on the other side of Whiskey and just gives free intel for any rotate that Mirage were going to try to pull off against SSG upstairs at that point. So really, really clean stuff from them.
All right, guys, I'm going to give you a 5-second crash course on that one, all right? You go to the booths, you jump on top of the booth, you jump the little lamp on the wall, and then you jump up into that little, like, wreath thing that hangs from the ceiling. And that's it. It's actually a super simple drone, but it gets you so much information. Do you see how far that thing sees, John? It sees all the way down to the bottom of red stairs. I'm pretty sure you can see legs inside a bakery with that camera. It's actually so strong, but either way, that's neither here nor there. That's one drone in the overarching plan of SSG, which was make the entire floor impossible to play if you are outside of the bomb site. Once they started getting control of bakery, they just coiled around more of the front side of the building. You know, Fultz starts manning the lobby as well as like that whiskey, booths area, and they can't necessarily do anything. They're trying to play the top angles, but SSG aren't giving them anything inside of small bake or anything like that, so they try to have to, or they attempt to at least, adapt to that, but it just doesn't happen. SSG doesn't go for the top clear. They have to play into SSG's angles instead of SSG playing into Mirage's, and they end up losing men because of that. So SSG now up 4-0. Is this offensive half is just look like absolute perfection. I mean, there's no other way you can really put it.
Back to the old reliable here for Mirage. They're going to go with the library setup. They did attempt the mining and dining hold earlier, but this one going to be a little bit different here. Obviously, you can play more directly into that cocktail extension as a result of this, so Mirage going to be hoping that that style will play out a little bit more comfortably into what they've done for themselves inside of this round here. Nyx still going to take a position inside of trains in order to watch out for that early control that SSG may try to go towards on the second floor. And we're going to actually start to see that fold out right now. Two players just dropping down the red hatch itself, and I believe heading down the staircase to the second floor to begin taking some of that control away from Mirage in that direction. See Fultz contributing to that right now. He's already reached the bottom of those stairs and has an angle on to 90. Nyx won't be challenged for at least a little bit here, as I believe SSG are still on a bit of a fact-finding mission. Once again, they're not meeting too much resistance in these couple of seconds, as I've talked to death about at this point. So with that said, they know they have all this excess time to do this. Figure out exactly where Nyx and anyone else on Mirage might be positioned and make sure that when they do execute, it's done in a clean fashion. Loading goes down. Nyx goes down. There was another threat on the inside of dining room. Not sure if that was loading or another player, but either way will cause a slight slowdown for SSG here as they try to figure that out for themselves. Court's trying to get a little bit tricky as he goes aggro on pillars, but it's 10 already been read by SSG. Court's has no choice here. He's got to fall back into the site.
They're just simply running them down with utility and firepower, John. The intel game from SSG obviously coming in, especially inside of the train engagement there for Fultz, but still had to have that mechanical ability to push forward and find that frag, especially trying to deal with the man inside of dining. But seems like somebody's going to go unchecked, and it's Dream upstairs, although he's definitely going to be known now from the report of that rifle. Still low on time here, but enough time in terms of siege. Thinking Nate now with the plant, Rampy with the shutdown on one. Looks like Fultz will go down. It's down to the 2v4, make it a 2v3 as Nate takes some damage. They'll be able to get the plant off. Benji with a good read on the laundry player here as Rampy's trying to get forceful. Dream still playing inside of Train. He's going to lose one of his members, trying to take the gunfight onto White Stairs, but he's getting lit up. The cross angle already set up for reading as well. This 1.5 definitely going to assist as of right now. Not too much information, it seems like, for the defense. They're all locked up on that bulletproof camera, trying to give any insight possible to their last remaining bastion of hope here for Mirage. This is a attempt here as he's going to swing into reading. Has an opportunity, but Bosco has the pixel angle from White Stairs. Can't be done. Doesn't even get the gunfight with the reading player. SSG just simply washing over the entire map of Cafe.
Not a bad attempt there from Dream, obviously able to get the pick upstairs and tries his best, and is one of the few players that is successful in trying to work around the setup from SSG, but ultimately as he reaches that 1v2, I'm sure you guys could see it at home, there's really no winning way for him to push into that situation and still get back control of the diffuser in time to counter diffuse there. So another round goes into the pockets of SSG. And with that, they take a 5-0 lead here going into the final round of the half. We will get a 6-pick there and shouldn't cause a tectonic shift or anything like that, though, as it's just going to be a change up in hard breaches. Meanwhile, looks like we got one from Mirage as well. Pretty much the same thing, a very minor change going from the castle over towards the Maestro.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Okay, well, Mirage. I mean, the defensive setup is not bad, right? It's not bad, but like, you know, just as of right now, man, I really, really wish that we could just see them try and get more aggressive on this roam. And speaking of roams and stuff that's, you know, not going great, let's speak about something that's even better. Did you guys know that Zero has a new SSG skin and that esports skins are fresh and new into the game? You guys should go check them out inside of the store in-game right now. There's some beautiful skins out, some fresh ones. Go check out that Team Secret M590. It's basically black ice, but with an esports logo in it. It's actually amazing.
All right, so Stokes handles the call out from
Yeah,
you once
yeah.
there. You got it this time.
Ooh, thank you, man.
Yeah,
I'm
congrats.
trying, you know.
You've graduated from sponsored call out school now.
They're like Stokes. You've been doing this for 2 years. You now have your bachelor's.
Move you up a rank now. Either way. We've got SSG out on
Is it a 2-year degree in associates? See, guys, I didn't go to college.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't really remember, to be honest with you, but I think you're right. We've got SSG on the rooftop. This is going to be nice, though. The Nitro over the top, but it's immediately caught from the Zofia on SSG. A really nice attempt from Mirage to get creative there, but once again, SSG just too smart to handle it.
Folds literally shot that. He's like, what do you think this is, kangaroo court? Like, you can't hop out windows and do this. This isn't happening. That's 2 nitros down and we'll kill loading. It doesn't even matter. Throw it at us. We don't care. We're Space Station Gaming. We literally float off the planet. We exist on an entirely different celestial plane, John. Like the gameplay isn't even the same. Mirage, down a man, down some nitro cells as well, sadly. But not too much intel on anything. I like the attempt early there, I'll be honest. But SSG, especially with how they're playing right now, I don't think they're going to let you get by with the cheeky kitty plays. I just don't think it's going to happen.
The info game, needless to say, is a bit unmatched right now with regards to how SSG is playing this. That's 2 nitros that are immediately denied, as well as a run out that's punished. Mirage just can't make anything work, no matter whether they try to play incredibly passive or incredibly aggressive. Nothing is working, and there's various reasons as to why this is. Quartz, though, showing us a little bit of light inside of this round as he finally gets a kill against them. Benji as well, finding Houghton, but it's quickly dashed as now Benji will fall to thinking and leave just Dream and Quartz alive. Now, it is workable. It's a 2v3 after all. The big problem is mainly going to be that these 2 players are incredibly separated from each other, so trying to trade off of each other is a bit difficult. You can see there as well, I believe Dream already getting pressured a little bit over towards pillars there, and now the drones start to roll in to really get a lock onto what this final setup will look like for these last 2 players on the defense.
All nade. It's a good read on the pillars player here. Quartz more than likely in trouble as nades will be coming in from behind him. Rampy, oh man, from downtown, 3-pointer right into Quartz, and it's going to be all up to Dream. Obviously, he'll have the mag capacity to get this done, but will he have the mechanical ability? SSG have been just lethal when it comes down to it in these man-up positions. They do not play these as disjointed gunfights. We'll have to see how this goes down. Is there an angle outside waiting for him right now? There is. Dream will check it. Knows one's inside of Mining, checks pillar as well, gets a good read on that as he is to the outside. Might have seen him swing back as well. Dream with an opportunity, he's pushing forward, he sees the ace, but nade, that's gonna be his 2nd kill, but a huge one. Impactful frags coming out of the support here for SSG, and an amazing half for them as well.
Once again, a close shave at the end of the round, but good stuff from SSG to once again handle it and still be able to close things down. It is going to be a massive lead, quite obviously, for SSG going into the second half. A flawless match is not out of the cards whatsoever. As we go into it, they're going to have to win at least 1 round on their defense, though, in order to make that possible. Let's see if they'll be able to get it done, as we're going to have a reading and fireplace defense for them as Mirage gets onto their first attack also.
Hey, John.
What's up?
2020 called. They won SSG versus TSM back then.
Like, are we kidding here, man? What is happening with these 2 teams right now? This is unprecedented. I mean, I really like what we're seeing with SSG.
Needless to say, they got Mirage's number, it seems like.
Yes.
Even in the kills department, there's just, I mean, I hate to be overly harsh, right? Like, just to bring the point home real quick about how drastic this has gotten. I think there's a total of like 9 or 10 kills on Mirage. That means that Bosco has more kills than the entirety of Mirage combined.
I was just about to say that, but I was about to say, did you notice that like this game really hasn't been a struggle? Like, it's been a struggle for Mirage, right? Obviously, but it hasn't been in the sense of like they've been just eviscerated. Like, they're getting clean cleared and stuff like that. Like, SSG is doing things proper and really taking it to Mirage. But Bosco is just calmly going 11-1-2. Yep. Like he isn't like rushing into sight and like nothing, man. He's just holding supporting angles as Lion, and it's like just another day in the office, man.
He's not the only one. Look, Fultz is 8-0-3 right now. Rampy is 8-3-1. So it's not even just Bosco doing this either.
Rampy, how dare you have almost a 2.0 KDA? I can't believe it. Cannot believe it. Lycan better be talking to him. Absolutely ridiculous. But either way, SSG with an opportunity to get the clean 7-0 up against Mirage. Hot and Cold's former roster really showing them up right now, although won't be in the exact scoreline for him, but will definitely be in the scoreline for the rest of the team and what he's brought to the table here to make this scoreline happen. Speaking of that secret skin from earlier, that's it right there. I know. Absolutely beautiful. Once again, go check those out in the store. But Mirage now out and onto the field and taking a look at their lineup. Quite a bit different from what we saw from SSG, especially with no priority onto a clearing operator like Lion, instead worried about the flank here with the Nomad.
Gonna be quiet in the early days here. Mirage probably going to be taking a very timid approach to any sort of early action, would be my guess, inside of this round, just because of how much they've been outmatched in the individual 1v1s. Switching sides is not suddenly going to change that factor for them, not to mention the fact they really don't have much of an idea as to what to expect with regards to SSG's defensive setups on this map, because of what Stokes mentioned in the pregame. I've not seen SSG play on this, especially with Hot and Cold, in recent times, so there's a lot for Mirage to figure out here, and they literally can't lose a single round while they're doing that. So this is a tough ask, to say the least of it. Loading obviously has been on this rappel, and he's not alone in doing it either. Another player supporting him from just towards his right, trying to get control over White and ultimately allow access for Mirage, whether it's going to be through the walk-in coming down, Cigar, or another path as well. But things are going to start out well, really well, apparently, for Mirage. Foltz with a nice Nitro Cell exchange here, but he gets baited into the open right into loading. So Mirage suddenly come booming back into this match here and convert a 5v5 down to a 4v1 in mere seconds. It's all down to Hot and Cold now in a 1v3. He's got intel on this White player, should be able to take him down. There's the first, but now he's at sub 25 HP, and both Benji and Loading are looking pretty healthy to try to take him down together.
Loading's got the angle, but does he know he's there? No, it's a trade. Oh, I thought Loading didn't get the bullet off. That was so, John, my heart just dropped so
what an attempt.
Fast. That was amazing. An amazing attempt from Hot and Cold and a hell of a shot from Loading. That right there is knowing your teammate, by the way, folks. He knew that that man was going to be on the move. Hot and Cold is not somebody in a clutch that is simply going to stand still and wait for the offense to try and make a rotation or something. He's mobile. He's going to get in your face, and they were ready for that. Very well done for Mirage to secure that first round, because it did get scary there for just a split second, and you don't necessarily want to go out on a note like that, especially from a recently ex-teammate.
Certainly would give him pop-off priority more than anything in that matchup there if he pulls off the 1v4 in the final round, but 6-1 now becomes the scoreline. The 7-0 dream is dead, but the possibility of a near shutout still certainly in the cards here if SSG course correct quickly. They're going to be heading fully upstairs now onto the third floor into the match, or excuse me, into the site that up until recently had been the go-to for quite a few teams, but like I said in yesterday's matchup with Mirage playing on this map, also the site's a little bit played out at this point. Quite a few teams know how, and kind of know what to expect from most of their defenders they go up against, and as a result of that, it doesn't leave itself to be an easy site for defenders very often. We'll see if SSG can utilize it, though, to close down on this map here and now.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways that this site can be set up that's just basically up to the team, right? Like, okay, do you want rotates from bathroom into freezer? Do you want, the line in the wall for freezer, or are you going to, put an electrical on it or something like that? There's a lot of different things you can do, especially in like this area that we're looking at right now, like the freezer bathroom area. That's mostly where we see a lot of things change up, especially with like trash wall and all that being there. But that's really it. Like that's the kind of area where we see a lot of different play come out. As for like cocktail and stuff like that, it's pretty played out as to how people set it up. Obviously different operators, but manned in very similar fashions. It's still really about worrying about what's going to happen with White, manning the bar area, that kind of stuff. But as for this forward position, this is where things can get really dicey. And honestly, I like SSG's setup here, especially with Bosco in that power position. But as you said, thinking, Nate, getting a little desperate for that stage peak.
He's got two people on that window as well, so let's be really cautious. If he even decides to repeat anything in the future, he's lost his deployable shield. That's what the explosion you just heard was. So more than likely not going to be able to maintain that spot anymore. We'll have to fall back. Hotton, in the meantime, going to start things out well for SSG, as a Nitro Cell is the lead kill for SSG again on their second defensive round. It'll lead to the elimination of Quartz, which is actually, in the short game, should be a pretty big loss for them, as they're not going to be able to do as much soft destruction as they were previously. The good news for the long game is that Dream is able to find the trade here. Dream being definitely the shining light for me for Mirage in this matchup, constantly picking up the impact frags that's either pushing them closer to an outright one round or a clutch, or at minimum contributing to pushing the team forward further. Does it once again by being able to trade that one out and re-equalize the situation into a 4v4.
And losing that skeleton key goes back to what we were talking about earlier with what you can do with him, especially on this bomb site, in most particular out of all of them. This is usually where we see a Buck utilized for a cocktail take, and now that they've lost that skeleton key, well, they've lost the key to actually getting in here. Looks like SSG are fully prepared for the breach and clear as Nyx goes down. A flip from Bolts. He can't clear out the second one, though, and trades start to ensue. Hot and Cold hopping two inside of Cocktail. He'll take down one. Loading trying to get forceful, but he's getting read out straight off of the Evil Eye info. Oh no, overextends himself. Rampy ready for that one. It's a 1v3 now for Benji. Knows the positioning of at least the smoke player. He's got plenty of time as well to work this, but I mean, this is extremely desperate as of right now.
Benji looking for anything he might be able to use to clutch this out, but nothing going to be given to him. SSG fully set up to counter the white push, whether it's going to be through Freezer with the player they have, man with a shotgun inside of there, or the two players ready to fend off the cocktail swing. The problem is the cocktail swing is an even worse situation for Benji right now. He is dead if he goes that way. You folks at home should be able to figure out why that is, but if not, just look to your left and look to your right. Benji makes the push forward, does steal away the first player, but here's the problem. Now he's got to go up against that pitch. There's no way they're going to give him another 1v1 separately, and he's very quickly running out of time as well, and apparently out of bullets onto the secondary until Bosco finally commits to the swing to finish off the game. 7-1 is going to be the scoreline as SSG make a statement here today on Cafe versus their opponents.
Listen, everyone, I'm really sorry. I know we hyped this up as like, you know, the game of the week. This is going to be great.
I thought it was going to be one. I thought we had a good match. I mean, like, it's so unfortunate, too. Mirage looked so promising with their play on this map yesterday with the way that they were taking it against Beast Coast, but unfortunately, just none of that able to show up, apparently, in the matchup versus SSG. That's good news for SSG fans, but unfortunately, it's back to the drawing board for Mirage.
Yeah, well, now you know why they call him Boss Goat, because this guy's been doing this for years, even on Cafe as well. Like, I remember probably like year 2 or year 3 when Bosco made the SR25 on Blackbeard like the best gun that you could possibly run, and his Cafe was so unbelievably nasty, John. He would kill everyone on the entire enemy team like all the time. It was crazy. But Bosco, man, and the rest of SSG today just proving that, you know, Hot and Cold really was the missing piece for this squad. I'm extremely excited for their future. We're not even really halfway through this season as of yet. I mean, we still got a lot of play days to go through, but I'm already looking forward to TSM versus SSG. If I could have a best of 3 of that right now just served on a silver platter, I would take it.
We're not going to get that immediately, but should be coming up soon in the future. For now, though, myself and Stokes going to head to a quick break. When we do come back, we've got Veli and the Deaths to break down the action from yet another quick match going into the hands of Space Station. Stick with us, guys. We'll be back soon.